Hey folks, happy Saturday. How is everybody today? We're gonna get to play with some pencil today. Rana, you started to learn to draw when COVID descended upon us. Wow, that's an awesome undertaking. Drawing is like one of the most, I don't know, the best gifts that I think we have at our disposal. So that's great that you started drawing during this this moment in the pandemic. Hey Annette. Yeah, drawing's my favorite thing in the world. Doing it for way too long. I always get better. I'm really excited about January. I'm excited about a 30 faces, 30 days challenge that's all about the pencil. I feel like I have to get back to my roots a little bit. Just focus on doing some pencil work. Yeah, there's a $5 off sign up if you use the promo code 30F30D Mike with the link that Sktchy just posted in the channel. I will be there along with how many other artists? 29 other artists. There's going to be so much variety, I think, when it comes to the portraits that are going to be produced next month. It's just going to be a really, really fun time, I think. Lots of inspiring stuff going to be happening. And always a good challenge. Trying to do 30 drawings in 30 days is like one of the best ways to kickstart yourself into like a new habit, which is perfect for the new year. So I'm looking forward to it because I've definitely been working a lot the last couple of months and haven't been able to do as much drawing. I'm a little scared this morning when I was like, do I remember how to draw? Can I actually do a live stream with drawing? But yeah, it turns out I do know how to draw still, so that's good. But I would definitely be a lot more comfortable if I were drawing more regularly, and so that's why I am looking forward to next month's challenge. Hey Marcel. Hey Ray. So yeah, that's why today, because next month's challenge is focused on the graphite pencil, today I am focusing on the graphite pencil. So I am going to be doing a drawing in a sketchbook. Let's go ahead and switch over to the materials so that you can see what I'm doing. So in case anybody hasn't met me, my name is Mike Creighton, and I am a multidisciplinary artist in Portland, Oregon, where it is actually going to be sunny today, which I am super stoked on. So I do a lot of portraiture, and if you've been watching me anytime in the last couple of months, I keep talking about how I want to finish a sketchbook that, you know, at age 41, I should have been able to have finished a sketchbook, and I just have not been able to. And so I think I've actually finished a sketchbook. I think there might be like a couple little nooks and crannies that need to be filled in, but yeah, last night I did this little sketch over here and it kind of finished up the sketchbook. And so I thought today, since I had finished up a sketchbook, I should start a new sketchbook with y'all. So that's what we're doing. Got a new moleskin sketchbook over here. I'm opening it up for the first time for you. These are my favorite sketchbooks in the world, especially the artists' ones, because they have the best kind of paper, in my opinion, a little bit heavier paper, 111 pound. Paper's really smooth, but it's not too smooth. It's got some good tooth. It is just one of my favorite sketchbooks, so I've got a gabillion of them, and I get to open up a new one for you today. I will take out my little things, and there's like usually a little story pocket thing in here. That goes away now. Okay, so we've got a brand new sketchbook. I'm gonna go to 2 pages in. Oh, yeah, first page of a sketchbook is daunting, but we will make do. How do we want to do this? I'm not really sure. So we're going to be using this moleskin sketchbook. They are a sponsor of next month's challenge. I'm really excited for that as well. Again, just my hands down, regardless of sponsorship or not, my hands down my favorite sketchbook. I bought this one, so that's how much I love them. This is the pencil that we're going to be using today. I'm going to try to, my light quality keeps changing in my room because I'm getting natural light, I'm getting not natural light, I'm getting all kinds of stuff. The color temperature keeps changing. I might need to do some adjustments, but Palomino Blackwing. I posted in the Sktchy Art School, this is my favorite drawing pencil. hands down my favorite drawing pencil. They come in packs of, I want to say 12. They are very buttery smooth. They're graphite. I think they're mixed with a little bit of like a wax in the graphite. It's some special kind of graphite. And the pencil is just like a nice weight. They are obviously normal sized when you haven't used them a lot. But this is my favorite pencil, so we will be using that today. I've got a little pencil sharpener, which is just a thing that has like a little shavings catcher, and a kneaded eraser. Kneaded eraser, my favorite thing in the world. So I'm gonna see if I can actually warm up my camera a little bit. That's a little bit better. Doing some camera adjustments on the fly, blind. So we'll see if that has to change at all again. Kanya says start in the middle of the sketchbook. Okay, poll for the chat. Who, when you start a new sketchbook, do you start, I'm really not liking this color, do you start from the beginning? Or do you start, hang on a second, y'all. Sorry. There we go. Just trying to get the color settings. Do you start in the middle, or do you start in the beginning, or do you start some other random place? Okay. Sorry, my light keeps changing in here. I always try to start at the beginning, and then I end up jumping around, and then I have to go back through and fill things in. So we're starting with this this muse here today. And I think how Sktchy. This is I thought this would be an interesting one to do because they're not looking straight at you. The head's tilted down a little bit. It's tilted toward you a little bit. There just might be some interesting stuff going on. Glasses are always a fun challenge to do. So I thought this would be a fun sketch to work on today. So we'll see how it goes. Scene starts in the middle and then flips upside down each page to break the pressures of having my hand on the right. Yeah, that's a good, I'm just gonna go ahead and highlight that. That is a very good way to go about it. I do a lot of flip-flopping. The hand starts from the front and the back and ends at the front. Beginning, of course. Kanya. I start in the beginning, draw on 5 pages, then start another one. That is 100% my brand. That is exactly what I almost always end up doing. So I share that for sure. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a pretty rough lay-in here. Just kind of using a method that I teach called the Loomis method, which starts with some really basic stuff. I'll go ahead and stop down just to make sure that you can see this a little bit better. I'm sorry for the camera going all over the place. I just want to make sure you can see the lines. But we'll just do something to get ourselves a framework on which to sit our head. Just kind of finding some of the key markers of like forehead, bottom of the nose, bottom of the chin. I'm going to eyeball these a little bit. Not be too precious about measurements, which means it might get a little bit wonky, but I think that that's just fine for this morning. How is everybody, by the way? Everybody doing good? Yeah, Marcel. I am the same way. I'm like, oh, this is such a beautiful sketchbook, and I want to, especially the moleskins, I want to treat it so well and so nice and all of that kind of good stuff. But at the end of the day, it's just not doing its job for you if you're not using it. So that's how I have to kind of force myself to actually do some whatever kinds of drawings, pen, paint, anything, just kind of get in there. I'm going to do a quick measurement, really quick measurement here. I just want to see how far I'm off on the length of the head. That's about 2/3. The width is about 2/3 the height. Might be a little bit high. Sorry, I just don't want it to look too out of proportion. So bottom of the nose, bottom of the chin. Everyone's doing good. 5 hours of sleep, that's not a lot of sleep. Do I draw on a slanted surface or flat on the desk? That is a really good question, Fiona. Right now I'm drawing flat on a desk. I think when I'm drawing bigger, I prefer to do on a slanted surface, just because it's much more ergonomically sort of correct for you. In addition to that, it gives you more of the ability to kind of draw with your entire arm. If it's sort of situated as if you were like sitting on a saddle horse and you had your, like, not an easel, but a drawing board sort of kind of pinned to your lap and like angled upward so that it's at arm's length away, that would be the sort of ideal way in my mind to draw. Sorry, I kind of got off the rails there. Sorry about that. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep drawing the face here. So we're just kind of creating a scaffolding for ourselves. Get the jaw in. We'll be erasing a lot of these lines. I'm just trying to get some semblance of structure to work from. We're going to be a little rough today, I would say. I can get pretty tight with my drawing, so we'll just see how this one goes. But there will likely be some using of my like line mark making sort of techniques that I like to use a lot. Or I just can't seem to get away from that, so that'll certainly happen. Good morning, Jackie. Good morning, Madeline. Yeah, no problem, Fiona. You're welcome. Thanks for asking that. Yeah, if anybody has any questions along the way of just like preferred materials, drawing setup, you know, any of that kind of stuff, tips, feel free to ask along the way. I'll do my best to kind of keep peeking up at chat to see your questions. Now, once I get this lay-in done, I'll zoom in and see the kind of the detail stuff that I'm working on as I'm working on it. I'm just kind of, again, stubbing in a framework here of kind of like a lay-in, a scaffolding, just to get all my basic proportions and things like that working okay. A little bit off on my angles, but I think that that's going to be quite as slanted as this. I don't even know why I'm using the short one. I should be using the long one for this. You'll notice that when I'm holding my pencil, I'm holding it pretty far back, especially for this like initial lay-in, and it's just because you can draw a lot more from your shoulder. What pencil am I using, Jackie? I'm using a Palomino Blackwing. See that right there? They come in like 12 packs. I think you can just do a search for Palomino Blackwing. Maybe somebody can look it up and post a link in the chat. But my favorite pencil, just like for sketching, a little bit dark. Like you're forced to kind of go pretty dark with it. It's hard to do really light lines, but the way it feels is just absolutely amazing. So highly recommend trying to pick some up. They're not too expensive at all. We're just drawing the hat. I've already kind of screwed up some of the angles, so we'll go ahead and correct those a little bit for you. Look at where this hat actually, where this hat goes. I was thinking about doing like a really small drawing for this sketch today. They're the ones that I kind of do when I'm just, you know, sitting around. I'm like, okay, I gotta get a portrait out, gotta do something. But I thought I'd just do a kind of a full pager instead. So I don't know how much of the value and stuff we'll actually get to lay down. Normally what I'd be doing here if I wanted some serious accuracy is I would be taking measurements. Of different parts of the hat in relation to other parts of the face to make sure that everything is pretty okay. Right now, kind of just winging it. I am so happy the weekend is here. We are almost done with work. In case anybody doesn't know this, I am a technical director at a digital brand experience marketing agency, and it has been a brutal year. I'm sure it's been a brutal year for everybody. Oh yeah, we've just been extremely busy. And I'm going to be very happy to know that I've got 2 weeks solid time off after next week. I am so excited for this fact. So I'm going to keep looking forward to that, use that energy, that excitement to get me through this week. I'm going to start erasing some of the scaffolding that I've laid down just to clean up all of this a little bit. I'm the kind of artist who, constructing a head or anything like that, I will tend to do broad sort of gestural things and then start honing in on the details and such. So you're going to see that kind of process unfold here. Now that we're kind of getting into the face shape and the head forms and things like that, I'm going to go ahead. I didn't even draw my center line, so I'm just going to do that really quick. And the center line is the part of the face where everything, all the symmetry happens, all the center of everything. And I can see already that I kind of didn't turn the face away from us enough, so I might do some corrective work here just to make sure that everything is kind of happening at all the right angles, and that the face is actually turned away from us enough. I can kind of see how to make that happen, so I'm just going to go ahead and start making some corrective marks to get there. Okay, so in case you're wondering what these landmarks are, this is the brow line, this is the bottom of the nose, which I'm probably going to move up a little bit. Up here was the hairline, and then this is obviously the bottom of the chin. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting in some of the key other kind of indicators, which is you've got a glabella, which is the kind of keystone shape between your eyebrows. Go ahead and just kind of get a nose shape in here. Not going to be V-shape. I'm going to look for angles from things like indicators like the glasses that will help me place some of these features. Nostril. We'll end up rounding this out for sure. Is anybody planning on doing any like big art projects over the holiday time at all? Or has anybody started anything recently that they're excited about? Doing some Christmas cards. That's a good idea. That would have been a good idea. I wish I had streamed like 2 weeks ago and you had stated that idea. That would have been a nice thing to do. Are you doing like individual all original Christmas cards, or are you doing like one Christmas card and then getting prints done of them? I think I did that one year where I like had a bunch of my artwork printed out and I just kind of sent out prints as like faux Christmas cards. doing your studio. Copper plate etchings. Ooh, that sounds fun. I've never done an etching. Always wanted to. Nice, Jackie. Good for you for finishing up the portrait. Always nice to finish something up. So now I'm going to go ahead and try to get these glasses in. And I don't know if y'all have trouble drawing glasses, but the basic idea is you always want to know where your center line is. So we know where our center line is on their face. It's that vertical line right there between the brows. And then we look at the angle of the brow, and then we see kind of the glasses are going to kind of just generally follow that angle. We're going to draw a light line that way. And then we're going to do the same thing below it, parallel. And all the things are parallel. All of these lines are parallel going across the face. And we're doing that because we're basically constructing a box or a rectangle in front of his face. So if I were to draw it without any sort of perspective, it would look like this, or any angles referring to the angles of the glasses. Like that would be the boundaries of his glasses. Everybody should sign up for the 30 Faces 30 Days. It's going to be super challenging. It's super fun. I've done them so many times now. So much fun. That's not like a, you better do it. It's just, it's just a lot of fun. So I highly recommend doing it. Plus I'm a feature artist, so I really want to see what y'all make. There's just going to be so many good artists this year. So, this next session. So I've kind of given myself a boundary for where the glasses are going to sit. If I think about the front plane of the glasses as being within this kind of rectangle. And now I'm going to kind of draw the frames inside of that rectangle, thinking about how they're kind of curving and moving through space. And it's not going to be perfect, but it's a good way to kind of get something like glasses placed on the face in a way that doesn't look too skewed. Just think of them like a flat rectangle. And you just know that like, oh, I can't go outside of this kind of boundary area. Doodle wash. I'll have to take a look at that. Yeah, there's always like lots of really interesting kind of art challenges floating around in the ether. I think it's just really fun doing one with a community that's, you know, really dedicated to it and like has a sort of a social network, you know, kind of built into it that everyone can kind of coalesce around. So it's not necessarily just strung together by hashtags and stuff. Not that that's, you know, ineffective or bad. It's just nice when you can see everybody's stuff all in one place and you all kind of get to see what everybody else is doing in a centralized location. As you can see, I've kind of got ish what the glasses kind of look like in this square. Some of these angles can get pretty difficult, I would say. Specifically, this one is giving me some trouble. I'm not going to belabor it though. I want to get to rendering this thing. I see what's happening right now. I see exactly what's happening. So what I've done is I have gone too far out with it. This is why the overall shape of this part of the lens was looking weird. Okay. Getting something a little bit closer there. Jackie, what's holding you back is drawing very slowly. I think that that's totally fine. It gets you practice, gets you observing, and then eventually it gets you speed. I think it's okay to draw very slowly. I'll say this, by the end of the 30 faces, 30 days, you'll be drawing very quickly. That always just ends up being a side product or a byproduct of those challenges, for sure. It's one of the things that I most look forward to in those challenges is this idea that you walk away just being straight up more proficient and more efficient with drawing in general, and portraiture and observation. Like all of those things kind of just come along with it as a nice bonus. So if any of you are out there just like frustrated or even intimidated by the speed at which you draw when participating in one of those kinds of challenges, know this. Know that you don't have to do all 30 faces. That's just sort of a goal. Hey, Polly, it's good to see you. And you don't have to do all 30 faces. And on top of that, like with every face you do, you end up getting better. And that's just a fact. So I just want to kind of call that out as what some may perceive as limitations or things that might kind of get in your way. They're actually going to go away and are good ways to kind of start out. So I will be starting from a very slow pace myself. I mean, we're 25 minutes in and I've barely got anything going on here. So this is just where I'm at right now. But by the end of it, it's like I'll be able to kind of get this far in 5 minutes or 10 minutes at the most, and then I'll be on my way to kind of creating the rest of my face. Maria asks what kind of eraser I'm using. I'm just using a kneaded eraser. No brand or anything like that, just a good old kneaded eraser. So I'm kind of placing the eyes a little bit in here. Just want to get some indication of where the eyes might be. I'm going to go ahead and erase some of this scaffolding again. And when I say scaffolding, I'm always just kind of referring to these construction lines. So I like the kneaded eraser because it lets me get in there. Lets me get in and kind of scrub away at the stuff that I want to get at. That's one of the benefits of the kneaded eraser for sure. Got most of our features in place right now. It's not perfect, and I think that that is okay by me. A little low today. Yeah, for some reason this mic's volume is not, something happened on my system and I can't get it to get up past a certain level anymore. I will have to look further into that, so I'm sorry if I'm a little on the quiet side. I had to record a video recently for the 30 faces, 30 days, and yeah, I had to turn my gain all the way up when I was doing the editing. So my apologies if I'm a little quiet. I'll do my best to kind of speak up a little bit, enunciate, so that you can hear me. Let's go ahead and get the leg. Is it an arm of the glasses or is it a leg? What are these? I think I've had this question on one of my streams before where I asked what the heck the name of that thing was. What is it called? You did lino cuts this year? Ooh, I haven't done those since college. Those are fun. Those are a lot of fun. Sorry, y'all. Just checking something out really quick. Just seeing if I could find anything to get my volume up on the fly, but I cannot right now. So I do apologize for that. And we'll get it sorted next time I stream or next time I record. I'm going to be doing a sketchbook walkthrough of the sketchbook that I completed recently, probably over the, not next week, but the week after that, the arm of the glasses, stem of the glasses. Yeah, stem, that's what it is. Arm, stem, bow, temple. Y'all are great. We got one of them. One of those is correct, but I think it is the stem. I think it is the stem. But yeah, I want to do a sketchbook reveal. Reveal? I don't know what those are called. But I want to do something where I kind of walk through the sketchbook because it spans over the course of a long time. And again, I'm just happy that I finally finished a sketchbook. And what's interesting about like a 30 faces, 30 days challenge is what I like to do is I like to give myself a set of constraints within which to work. And when you do that, it kind of takes a lot of the decision making away. Like you don't have to wonder about what paper I'm going to use, what pencil I'm going to use, like any of that stuff. If you just kind of set those rules for yourself right from the get-go. And so I like to do that a lot when I do these challenges, just so I can like develop some consistency, look for really marketed improvement because I'm kind of keeping with the same idea or the same technique or just basically the same kinds of constraints. And if I said, hey, one of my constraints is to work within my new sketchbook, like the one I just started today, then it's likely, you know, how many pages was this? Tell me the number of pages. 104 pages. I mean, I get through about a third of the sketchbook in a single month, which is exciting. My sketchbook tour, sorry. Yeah, Moleskine comes in watercolor, cold press. I have a cold press watercolor one here. So second favorite sketchbook is right here. I want to finish that one soon too. But yeah, I want to do a sketchbook tour. Eventually I want to finish that one and do a sketchbook tour because that one's got some of my first attempts at gouache painting in it. So those are some good memories for me. Okay. I've been spending a lot of time just kind of yammering and kind of doing all of this foundation work here for this drawing. So I'm about to get on to the next phase. Just kind of getting some of these shadow shapes in. Okay. All right. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start doing some rendering on this. Moleskine is a brand of sketchbook. It's Moleskine, and it is it's a brand of sketchbook. They've got all kinds of fun types of sketchbooks. But yeah, this one is the artist sketchbook. One of my favorites to work with. So I'm going to try to move from left to right here. I'll probably do a little bit of a round robin through the sketch, but for the most part, I'm going to move from left to right because, to be honest, most of this stuff in the back is pretty dark. So I'm going to take some really bold marks. I want to kind of move quickly through this one because I do want to get it done during this stream. So you're going to see a little bit of a rougher sort of approach from me as I work through this. I'm going to do a little bit of like cross hatching, cross contour hatching, and even just some basic just laying down of value. Some of these areas can get a little tiring. There's one thing I don't like about graphite. It is the amount of effort it takes to fill in sort of a large area with value. So we'll see how much I belabor that. I'd rather spend that time working on the rendering of the face, because it's just, for me, obviously more interesting. So we're just kind of getting in some of this abstraction of what I'm seeing here. It's not going to be exactly what I'm seeing. I just kind of want to get some of these lines in. I'm not really even sure what that says. Where can it be found? I don't know that Michaels carries it, but Amazon does. Blick Arts, Dick Blick, what is it called? Online, it's like dickblick.com. It is pronounced anything. Actually, Marcel. I had to look this up because I wanted to make sure I was pronouncing it correctly on stream. And it turns out that they really see themselves as an international brand that can really just sort of mean and stand for everything for everybody, which is a really cool concept. And so they really want anybody to take ownership of the way that the notebook is pronounced, which is, it's just like a really cool idea, because yeah, everyone's like, is it Moleskine? Is it Moleskin? Is it Moleskine? Like, everyone sort of pronounces it differently, and they kind of have that stance that it's like, you do you, whatever you want it to be, as long as you take ownership of this thing, which really kind of speaks to their international audience and the history of it in general. So don't feel bad about any which way you pronounce it. I generally tend to say moleskin. So again, I'm just kind of laying in some value here just to get something on this hat. I'm not going to focus too much on its form or anything. Just going to making this a quick sketchbook sketch. That's kind of the way to look at this. Where are we at? We got 9:36. I think we'll get through most of this. I hope we'll get through most of this. I'm going to go ahead and take the shape of this bill and kind of change it a little bit. Really coming out like more of a rounded type form. And Naomi. I wish I spoke some Spanish. Sorry that I don't. I wish I was multilingual in general, but didn't really retain much from high school. Didn't take anything in college. Haven't lived abroad. So kind of missed out on that train. Middle-aged now. Can't really. Hard to pick up a new language at that point. It's not that it's not worth trying. Just I'm also trying to learn how to get better at art. Learn how to be a better manager. Lots of different things to get better at. I'm going to try to get a little bit of this texture of his hair in here, which can be really hard when the hair is like actually a fade. But I just want to get a little bit of the sort of short, tight curls, right? And also kind of just using really sort of abstract marks to kind of denote that texture. I'm just kind of moving my hand around really quickly to get some of these tight curls. And really try to get that fade, feeling like a fade. It's more of like his head's like got a really tight fade, and then it's actually looks like it's really long on the top, so it's a little bit of an undercut. And so I was talking before about how the Palomino Blackwing is a really kind of soft, maybe I didn't say, I said it was buttery smooth. I think that's the term I use, buttery smooth pencil. And I really like that about it. And what's really cool about working with a pencil like this is it can start out sharp, and you have to be really strategic with when you decide to use it when it's sharp, and when, after like doing this, you know, filling in the value in the top part of the hat, when to like let it stay a little bit duller so that you can get, like, this is a perfect moment to use the pencil in kind of a dull state, because I can get these kind of softer, more hair-like textures where I don't really want to have really sharp lines. And so, you know, really thinking about how and planning ahead for how your pencil's shape and sharpness and all of that kind of good stuff is going to evolve through the course of your drawing, and taking advantage of that is just like, it's usually one of the things that I kind of think about when I'm moving through a drawing. For instance, it's also really good for laying in lots of tone or value in an area. So I'm probably immediately going to go up to the top of the hat where there's lots of shadow. I'm going to scroll up through some of these comments. Catherine, yeah, no harming of moles in the making of these sketchbooks. Yeah, they're kind of like really tight dreads. I don't think they're dreads though, like in the traditional sense. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of fill in some of this hair in the chin. Try to really make it feel like it's going around the chin, just to help the chin feel like it's got some dimension. And what we'll do is, what we're doing right now is we're putting in sort of this like texture layer, and then I'll go back through and kind of do a more line work based value layer that will push everything in the skin tone and such back to its more natural sort of state. But again, this is just more of a textural layer right now. I really hate doing this kind of line work because it's really tough on my wrist. I have to like hold the pencil very tightly so that I can get control over what is effectively randomness, which kind of, it's just a hard, for me, it's a really hard thing to physically do. I really don't usually like doing that kind of, this kind of line work, but I set myself up for failure today by choosing a muse that I will have to do that with. Anyway, just at least showing you how you can get sort of different textures and different sort of styles of hair depending upon whatever it may be. Race, style, curly, straight, anything. Everyone's got very unique hair qualities. Okay, so let's go ahead and just finish up all of this action in here. And again, I'm going to go ahead and try to expose a lot of this texture and then kind of go back through maybe with some line work just to fill in the value. I don't know if that's actually going to work so great, but that's my plan of attack. And I think that that's what's really great about sketchbooks is, you know, maybe it's you want to try out a new style, maybe it's you want to try out a new technique, maybe it's you want to try out an idea. You know, normally I would say a sketchbook should be reserved for you. You are allowed to do anything in it. It should not be, but I try to somehow keep in my head that like it's okay to make the sketchbook be what I need it to be. It needs to work for me. It needs to be personal to me. And if there's something that comes out of it that I like, awesome. But I'm not trying to use it to produce stuff that I want to show to people. That's kind of the mindset that I've been having to kind of think about when I'm working in my sketchbook, because I think it can be really easy for me, because I want to show stuff on Instagram or whatever, to think that every one of these kinds of drawings needs to be, you know, in a showable state or whatever you want to call it. So it's just a little anecdote about my own personal mindset when working in my sketchbook. So I'm going to go ahead and start adding some line work in here just to evoke the fact that this thing has some curvature to it, like some actual surface curvature. The hat is what I'm referring to when I say the thing. And I'll go ahead and use some tight lines around the brim just to show that this has its own sort of independent surface. Naomi, you're going to draw a color, or a flower of what color? What is a good color for today? I think because it is winter here, it would be nice to see sort of a warm, almost like a peach-like color, maybe. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and, again, trying to strategically use the state of my pencil to be able to lay in a lot of value really quickly. And it's going to be hard to get this. I mean, this is the darkest part of the drawing, or what would be the darkest part of the drawing. So it's going to be a little difficult to get it to do what I need it to do in terms of like the amount of darkness I want it to be at. But now I will start kind of going in with some additional lines over top to get that additional darkness of value. Value being the relative light and dark throughout the hair. And I'll start using some line work as well to darken up that kind of faded area a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and do a pass in a few to get some of the other stuff. So at this point, I'm going to switch over to a slightly different technique, which is really going to be all about line. So this is a moment for me to sharpen my pencil and to come in and start thinking about, where do these planes sit? What do I need to do to sort of accentuate them? And so I'll usually pick a place right around the eyes, but I think since I've kind of been moving to from the upper left over, I'll actually start with a little bit of the ear over here. And I'm going to go ahead and try to zoom in for you while I'm working in some of these tighter areas. So I'm going to think about different parts of the ear as having volume, and also thinking about where they're lighter or where they're darker. And I will use my pencil in both a cross-hatching and a cross-contour hatching manner. Basically means using lines, hatching, to establish value, lightness or darkness, and use those lines in a cross-contour manner to establish the sort of cylindrical or curve-based curves that exist in all of these tight forms. I have a whole class on using this kind of line work and methodology to help describe some of these forms, just to get that extra oomph out of your lines. I find that it's really effective or making things feel voluminous and making forms feel like they turn, even when you don't have sort of the correct light source to help what is normally the source of being able to help you determine when the form turns, etc. So I'll use contours to describe those things. It's gotten a little bit dark, so I'm gonna go ahead and dab, 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 lighten it up. Thanks, Naomi. Appreciate it. Where are we at with time right now? So we've got about 11 minutes, so we'll see how far we can get with this. And we'll try to get into the face, because that is obviously the most interesting part, generally speaking. I'm kind of using a number of techniques all kind of smashed together to get some of these general effects. Usually I like to stick with just sort of one general mark making technique or other technique. When I'm doing this, I really like to be really intentional about the lines that I'm making, so that they remain clear and crisp and really do describe the form. And I'll use pressure to get darker values. I'll use density, how close the lines are, to help describe value. I'll also use cross hatching or cross contour hatching to help darken value and further sort of delineate form. I realize this is like a lot of different layers of, you know, what I'm thinking about. I just want y'all to know where my head's at when I am thinking through a drawing, considering all of these different things. And a lot of it just becomes second nature, I think, after a while, with enough practice and such. You'll just have all of these different tools in your tool belt. Moving pretty quick here. Usually I like to be a little bit more precise with some of this line work. And if I don't finish this, I will finish it, and then I'll post it. If you're in the Sktchy Art School, if you're signed up for the 30 Faces 30 Days, you can, oops. If you're signed up, you can, I don't know if that link's gonna work. I think it got eaten up. Marcel asks, do I ever draw digital? I do, actually. I've got a Wacom Cintiq hooked up to a PC that I built specifically for doing digital work. That's sloppy. I don't want to do that like that. And I've also got an iPad with Procreate, which I'm not really good at. I still have to just spend more time with it. I'm thinking I might do some of that over the break. Jackie says you need to learn about musculature. My lines are following the underlying muscles, but also just the forms and the planes in general. So I'm not thinking there's so many muscles in the face. I can't remember how many discrete muscles we have in the face, but we have a lot so that we can make, we can be very expressive, since it's one of our primary ways of communicating with each other. But what I'm thinking about, really what I'm following, is the different major planes and minor planes of the face, of just kind of every form that you're seeing, so that I do get that dimensionality. And that comes through observation. It comes through, knowing about things like musculature and bone structure. So a lot of it is sort of practice and study. Okay, let's go ahead and get a little bit more into some of this lip area. Really trying to pay attention to these values here. Lips are really interesting because there's a local color, a local value, and there's not really this like hard line between where the actual lips themselves meet the area above and below the lips. So we've got to be careful not to draw a line around that area. Just really try to use subtlety of like turning a value in that area. Yeah, Tiffany would know exactly where how many muscles there are on the face. Okay, so just continuing to think about these forms, really trying to pay attention to the values, light and dark again. Usually this is the kind of like drawing where I have to do a number of passes or any drawing really, where I do a number of passes to kind of get everything relating to itself correctly, relating to the areas around. Around the area. Basically everything is relative to everything else, but there's also just obviously an overall darkness, lightness that's happening throughout the entire passage. And so we have to make sure that we're constantly thinking about that and really trying to be deliberate in how we're observing the value. So we're moving on up through the face a little bit. Here, we got a few minutes left. Thanks, S-Man, appreciate that. Okay. I'm gonna start kind of using these darker values to get in and just sculpt in the frames a little bit. Not going to spend too much time here. Just want to make sure that I do leave in some areas for highlights because light is hitting these from different angles. And I also got this other kind of plastic eraser thing just to get in some really tight areas when I need to. For sake of time here, since we've just got a little bit left, I want to go ahead and just kind of finish out the nose because I always really like rendering noses. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then I think we'll call it quits, but I will finish this I will finish this after the stream and post it, like I said. If anybody is interested in joining the 30 Faces 30 Days Challenge, there is one happening in January. It is going to be all about graphite, which is why I'm doing a graphite drawing today. There's going to be me as one of the featured artists, as well as 29 others, which is super exciting. And we'll end up seeing a whole lot of different styles, which is, I think, going to be really educational and just like a lot of fun, basically. And so, highly recommend you sign up. If you are interested in signing up, you can go to shop.sktchy.com and you can use a coupon code. Jordan just pasted it, 30F30D Mike, $5 off your purchase. I think that this is just going to be one of the most fun ones because the pencil is sort of the most simple, direct implements you can use to make art. And in that simplicity, thanks motorcycle, in that simplicity comes a sort of a lot of opportunity, surprisingly. So I think that a lot of the artists have very distinct styles and techniques that they like to use. And it's going to be super educational to see how they, approach graphite, approach drawing portraits with graphite. I'm pretty sure some folks might even use a little bit of graphite powder, which I stayed away from, but it's like one of my favorite ways of using graphite is graphite powder. It's just like a really cool additional texture, and you can do some really neat stuff with like subtractive drawing and everything. So I don't know, just something to think about. Anita, great. I'm so glad to hear that you're signing up. Thanks, Maria. Oh, Devananda, I'm so sorry that you were late. You can always watch this stream again, after it's over. So sorry that you weren't here to be able to interact with the rest of the crew, but it's here for you to watch if you want to after the fact. I'm gonna kind of get in here and do a little bit more sculpting. This isn't super great. I can definitely stand to improve this nose quite a bit. A little difficult. I'm so out of practice that it's difficult for me to really talk and be able to really focus on stuff, but not a bad effort. Anyway, we're gonna stop there. I don't want to take up too much of y'all's days. So I will continue to work on this. I will finish this this morning and then post to Instagram. I'll post to the Sktchy Art School, so you'll be able to see it there. Sktchy's probably going to post it to their Instagram as well. And yeah, I don't know. I say sign up for the January 30 Faces 30 Days Challenge. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm just really looking forward to this one specifically, because the pencil is one of my oldest, fondest loves. So yeah, just really stoked for it. I want to say thanks to everybody for showing up today. I hope you all have a really great rest of your weekend, depending upon where you are in the world and how much of a weekend you have left. And yeah, I think that's it. Thanks again, and thanks to Sktchy for hosting me this morning. And I'll see you hopefully soon. Hopefully I'll see you next month for the 30 Faces, 30 Days Graphite Pencil Challenge. All right, take it easy, y'all. See you soon.